Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Welcome to the Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller podcast. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me, of course, is the rookie, Chris Dashew.
Got any more tips for me? Because I'm looking for tips.
Like those tips, do ya?
I do like those tips.
Rib tips or?
Whistler tips.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, rib tips? Come on down to Captain Barney Miller's old-time family restaurant and get some rib tips.
He wants his baby back. We haven't seen her in a long time.
Right, jeez.
On this episode of The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller, we are talking about 3 episodes of Barney Miller. We are talking about 3 from season 7, episodes 4, 5, and 6, Dorsey, Agent Orange, and Call Girl. Dorsey came out November 27th, 1980. Agent Orange, December 11th, 1980, and Call Girl, December 18th, 1980. We are right at the tail end of 1980, can't you tell? Of course, we are talking about 3 episodes that are directed by Noam Pitlick, who directed Think Everything this season, which is, well, no, not everything. Not everything. I think there's 1 episode that he didn't direct. So yeah, sorry, Noam. We are talking about the 3 episodes that star the one and only Dorsey. Well, that's the character's name. Paul Lieber. He is back as Detective Sergeant Eric Dorsey. And Chris, I am so glad that these are the only 3 episodes that Dorsey is in.
Oh my God. Not a fan, huh?
I'm not really a fan. No.
I So what's funny, I mean, we've mentioned Paul Lieber on this show before. I've mentioned that he's in one of my favorite episodes, late episodes of The X-Files. And then we've seen him end of last season as one of the stick-up men, right? That come into the precinct. He looks identical to the way he looks now, like literally identical.
That big hair, man. I mean, Bob Ross would be like, man, tone that down, would you?
Yeah. I think what's funny for me about this episode, Dorsey, is it obviously, it's the introduction of a character who we have not met before. We've seen the actor, but never met the character. And the character does not fit in the precinct at all. And I'm saying that even once he kind of, in the second and third episodes that we're going to talk about, kind of starts to get his footing, even then, he doesn't fit. And I think it's due to the writing. It's not the acting. I think Paul Lieber's fantastic. I just don't think they gave him anything to work with. It's like, it's like they were like, well, Dietrich was fun and Dietrich made sense. So let's introduce someone who's even weirder than Dietrich. And I don't dislike these episodes as much as you do, clearly, or at least the addition of a new character kind of taking over the episodes, at least the first one and a little bit of the second one, the third one, not so much. But he's a lot, and I can completely and totally understand your feelings. And I can also probably assume that this character may have something to do with why our dear friend and writer of the only book about Barney Miller, Tales of the Old One, too, Otto Bruno, I kind of feel like this may be one of the reasons he's not a huge fan of this season, because this is 3 episodes being given to this character, essentially.
Yeah, I think that my real problem with him is that he doesn't have a personality. He's just kind of weird. He doesn't seem to have, like, Wojo's got like a baseball, and that he was a Marine, and he's got a little bit of backstory, and he's got very much a personality. Same thing with Harris. He's the writer. He's got the sharp dress. He's got all this stuff. All of these characters have things that we have grown to love. And even when Arthur Dietrich came aboard, or I'm trying to think of I guess that was, Levitt, or, any of these guys, they all have a thing. And
long established thing.
Yeah. He has no like, oh, well, I really like, I don't know, hockey or something, just give me a little bit of a personality. And instead he just, well, first off, he does not ingratiate himself with his coworkers whatsoever. And it's such a negative thing. I mean, it's what they've been fighting since almost the very first episode, which is, we are honest cops. We are not on the take. He comes in and immediately is like, oh yeah, all you guys are on the take. I'm okay. I'm better than you. And that sets the tone for the whole character. Even in the second and third episodes, I was just like, why is this guy still here? Get this guy out of here. He doesn't belong.
And that's where there's no comedy being mined here. There's no comedy being mined from the fact that he doesn't belong. It's being mined from him rankling everybody else in the precinct, because for once, they're all on the same page that they don't like this guy. Like, Levitt, I think they tolerate, because, again, he adds some value. He comes up from downstairs. He brings up the mail. This guy, I mean, he shows up and he's just like, hey, listen here, fucking crooked cops. It's like, what? And like, the funny thing is, like, I can understand where he's coming from theoretically, because I guess if that was the expectation when you're working there, you're the young up and comer. That is the way things are. I'm assuming that was the way things had to have been somewhere. This isn't being written in a vacuum. But as people, you and I, who host a show about Barney Miller, who feel a connection to the characters on the show, to the actors who portray these characters, to see someone come in and go, look at all these dirty cops. Right. It's like, wait, like, what fucking information are you using here? And like you said, it's one thing to not ingratiate yourself to the characters in the show. It's another thing to not ingratiate yourself to the audience who's watching the show, because that feels like the bigger problem. The characters in the show are going to deal with it because that's the way they're written. But if the audience doesn't like you, they're going to want you gone immediately. And I completely understand your sentiment.
Well, it's like, even if he had said, oh, I talked with Lieutenant Scanlon, and, he warned me about you guys, or something where it's coming from outside, but instead
would have made perfect sense.
Yeah. He's like, well, I saw all you older cops again, like, not doing very well with that. I saw all you older cops, and, he looks at Harris with the way that he's dressed and everything. And he's just like, well, I just kind of assumed. It's like, well, you know what happens when you assume there, Dorsey. So
right.
Not good. Not good, Dorsey. Yeah.
Jack Reacher says assumptions will get you killed.
Very good. Yeah. And he just puts his foot right in his mouth. And yeah, it's tough. The story itself to the Dorsey episode, not too bad, though I really thought they could have put a little bit finer point on it. We've got this heroin addict. And I kind of like this heroin addict. How he's just is like, this is a great time to be a heroin addict. My habit that used to cost $150 a week only costs $75 a week. And I'm just like, $75 a week in 1980, that's a lot of money. I mean, it's not like a, $6 bowl of chili in 1973 or something, but it's a lot of money. 75 bucks a week. That's more than my chai tea latte costs when I go to Starbucks if I were to get one every day.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of money. But I do like that again. Like Barney Miller is a show that doesn't always do the thing that you expect with these kinds of characters, and yeah, kind of painting him sympathetically, I think, was smart.
Oh yeah,
I mean he's pretty sympathetic as a character, but at the same time, like he's obviously he is still an addict. So the show has to kind of balance those two things, but I don't think it really, I mean, given the way that they've treated sex work in this show, I think this is a lot more interesting of a way to treat an addict on the show than the kind of fumblings early on with sex workers that the show had. I will say though, I think the character of the drug kingpin, Cal Gibson's Mr. King, I mean, I think that scene's funny. Obviously, I mean, it kind of is part and parcel with the problem with this episode, which is Dorsey has to be shown that they're not dirty cops. And so Barney has to reject something that would be hard for anybody to reject, especially on like a government salary or like a policeman's salary, which is like millions of dollars essentially that they're foregoing here. But I think it's an interesting plot line. I just, to your point, like Dorsey, just as much as I like the actor, he's just in the way. And it's like, why are you here?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And I like that Levitt asks as much, just like, what the hell, man? I should be up here, not this new guy. I'm like, yeah, you're right, Levitt. Because to defend Levitt a little bit, when he is wearing the plain clothes as a detective, he is not bad at being a detective whatsoever. I think he does a really good job.
Well, and that's what I don't understand. So if everything I've read and done research about is to be correct, this was meant to be a reoccurring character. This was meant to be a new character added to the squad to be a new, cog in the comedic machine that is Barney Miller. And he was such a unappealing character for the fans that he's in 3 episodes and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's unfortunate because like it feels in a lot of ways like an extended Wojo's Girl, where like there's this thing kind of injected into this episode that it doesn't. I agree with you. It doesn't work. I just give it a little bit more of a pass because I like Paul Lieber, but I feel like he got really short shrift here. Like I'd be really mad. I'd be really upset if I was him for a number of reasons. I would be really upset if I was Ron Carey for a number of reasons. Like if I was Ron Carey, I feel like I'd be pretty disappointed too. Like again, narratively, it's a disappointment, but also like this is the logical moment if you're going to bring somebody else in to just bring Levitt in. Like I get that the conflict that they're creating here can also be mined for comedic gold, but again, like if the comedy were funny, I would agree. But because Dorsey is such kind of a wet blanket throughout, it's not worth defending. This is not my hill worth dying on with Barney Miller. You know what I mean? I would love to meet the person who was like, I really wish Dorsey was in more episodes. Because like I don't think that there was anybody willing to do that, clearly, at least not when the show was originally on.
I mentioned the heroin addict, and I think they could have done a better job with this because they had Michael Lombard come in halfway through the show. Fucking amazing. I love Michael Lombard, and this is his 3rd or 4th appearances, and he plays this cigarette addict, a smoker who does not want to give up the habit. He is undergoing... It's kind of like that Stephen King story, but not nearly as severe. He's going through electroshock to keep him from smoking. And the guy who comes in, Bill Adelson, played by Daryl Swearling, he's pretty good as well. He's the head of this whole thing. But you've got a nicotine addict and a heroin addict in the cell at the same time. There should have been something that was talking about drugs and what's an accepted drug versus a not accepted drug, and talked about how, one guy, he's the heroin addict, is going through withdrawals. There should have been something there about, our friend going through cigarette withdrawals, and he should have been dying for a smoke, but he can get a smoke whenever he wants. There should have been, again, something like that. I would be fine with Arthur Dietrich coming in and talking about how there's this double standard in society between good drugs and bad drugs. And I would have loved had Bill Adelson and Mr. King had a discussion about how they're both, one's trying to stop people from taking drugs, the smoking addiction guy, versus the other guy who loves when people take drugs. But poor Mr. King, he barely gets anything. He gets that one scene with Barney, which is a great scene.
Yeah.
But not nearly enough. And maybe I'm out of line, but I thought that would have been a great conflict to have these two different drugs and these two men in the cell.
Well, it would have been more entertaining than having Dorsey just go to the bathroom over and over again.
Yeah.
Which is literally what happens. I think I came into this episode recording a little bit more positive on Dorsey, and I think I'm souring the longer we talk about it.
Oh boy, I'm sorry.
No, it's perfectly fine, and it's perfectly fine because, again, it's in a vacuum. I thought it was okay, you know what I mean? But then listening to you talk about it, and also knowing the fan response is not incorrect. The fans had a point, and there's a reason he was no longer in the show. But it's twofold. It's narratively because I have to assume people were like, well, why not just add fucking Levitt to the show then if you're gonna do this? But also, again, it's like someone thought they had Arthur Dietrich's comedic timing down, and that could be transposed onto another character, and it can't. It just can't. And I don't know why they were thinking it could.
Right, and he's just weird. He doesn't have the intellect behind him like Dietrich does.
No, and that's the thing. There's a scene between Dorsey and Dietrich where he's telling him I get it. I was the new guy. I was here for 3 months before they gave me a desk. And he starts getting angry about it, which
right.
That's what the scene is being mined for. But Dorsey just stands there. He's just a cipher the whole time. And again, I don't want to see the characters that I've grown accustomed to being attacked by this outsider who doesn't know them. And that is what it is. And I get that they're trying to create conflict, very contrived is what it feels like. It's so contrived. Yeah. Because again, there are plenty of other directions this could have gone. It's not trying to think that these guys are dirty cops, because that's fucking far from reality if it's ever been one. But again, the fact that even beyond this episode, he never does anything else. In the next episode, it's just the same thing. He's just kind of standing around.
Yeah.
Standing around. It's really just a bunch of standing around for Paul Lieber. He's not even really doing anything, which also in and of itself is the
right. Yeah, it is. And I agree with you that he was underwritten and just didn't have nearly enough to work with. I think that this could have been a much better episode with my complaints, and then with my complaints about Dorsey as well. It's just come on, guys. It feels very half-baked for everyone involved in this.
For Barney Miller, too. Of all the things, Barney Miller's never half-baked for the most part. The only time it has been is something like Wojo's Girl. And that's what, again, this kind of feels like that, where it's you guys are kind of oddly floundering in a way that is atypical of Barney Miller. I think we've said it multiple times, even when this show isn't the great episodes that people remember so fondly, still a pretty good 22, 23 minutes of TV. It doesn't disappoint in that regard. Even in this episode, there are some funny bits, Harrison, the non-smoking guy. That is hilarious. That is funny. Harris just kind of needling this guy constantly the whole time he's here in the precinct is great. But again, you have to take those small good moments with a lot of really just, again, bad writing. That's all it is. It's really just bad writing. That's genuinely where it kind of stops and starts. There's nothing Paul Lieber could have done to save this character being so underwritten the way that he is.
Right. And why, these all these names of the writers, the story editors, they're written by, they're all familiar names. Frank Duncan, Jeff Stein, Tony Sheehan. Sheehan's got the writing credit. We know that that's not always the case when it comes to a show like this, where it might be somebody else has written, but Tony gets the credit or whatever. But come on. This is not what we're used to when it comes to the quality of Barney Miller.
No, and that in and of itself, I think, is the big failing here, is this doesn't even feel like Barney Miller. It feels like a lesser show masquerading as Barney Miller. And a lot of that is just the fact that Dorsey is the focal point of this episode. I mean, the next two episodes, I think, are better, marginally better, only because it's not titled Dorsey and he's not the focus. He's just in the background, which, I mean, again, like once he's in the background, he effectively disappears. So there you go. But yeah, this might be one of the worst episodes of the show, I think, without a doubt.
Yeah, in the meantime, the next episode, Agent Orange, is very much something that we've seen before. It's a little bit of, Wojo on a social crusade, which I love. I kind of like these episodes, especially because they're not always happening. When they do happen, it's just kind of a nice thing. And I've missed Wojo. It feels like I haven't seen Wojo really in action for a while. And now he's back in this episode big time. Even with the horrible wig that he's wearing, this whole thing, he, arrests this guy, and the guy's talking about how he was exposed to Agent Orange, and that gets Wojo thinking. And I mean, this was a major problem, probably still is for some guys, where they were exposed to these horrible chemicals back in Vietnam, and nobody fesses up, nobody talks about it, nobody accepts responsibility. He gets these three guys in here to basically talk about who's responsible, and each one is pointing at the other person like a fucking Spider-Man meme.
Keep pointing fingers at one another constantly. Yeah, I'm going to pass the buck on to somebody else.
Yeah. And, it could be Ferris Bueller's dad is the guy to blame, or...
I know, right? I found that immensely. I was like, where is that guy from? Oh, right. That's Ferris Bueller's dad. Right.
Yeah. Or it could be the guy that worked with Murphy Brown. He might be to blame. Or it could be the third guy who I don't think I've ever seen in anything before, Robert Phelan. Or maybe I have, and I just don't remember, because apparently he was in Halloween, but I don't remember where he was in that one. So, but he didn't have a career past 1994, I guess. So I'm not that familiar with him.
Oh, he's the guy that talks to Donald Pleasance outside. He's like, you don't know him like I do. Which Donald Pleasance's accent.
I mean, gosh. Yeah. You can't do better than Donald Pleasance in Halloween, though.
I know.
He had the blackest eyes. Jaws eyes. I shot him 6 times. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, why isn't he in this show?
Oh man.
But I will say Louis Giambalvo, the actor who plays the Agent Orange victim. And I mean, again, I think that's kind of, obviously in 2024, Agent Orange is probably not as big of a deal for people alive now. I mean, there's still people, like you mentioned, dealing with it. And obviously plenty of people in Southeast Asia have been affected by Agent Orange.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, I think the more contemporary comparison is what Jon Stewart has been championing, which is the burn pits that they were doing in Iraq and Afghanistan, that they were like inhaling soldiers were doing the same thing, inhaling things that they shouldn't have been because they weren't told that it was dangerous. And then all of them getting lung cancer, which is, I mean, again, and our own government right now doing the exact same thing, pointing fingers, but doing nothing, which is, great. Not great. And if you don't agree with that, fuck you. But the thing that I like about this is like you've mentioned with Max Gale as Wojo, this is where have you been?
Right.
For so long. And that's the thing, Max Gale's amazing in this show. We've known this. We know this. Max Gale's amazing in everything he's in, I'm sure. And this is the only thing I've seen him in, but I know that he's great in everything because he is a fantastic actor who has grounded this character who could really be unrealistic in a way that I think speaks more to him as an actor than necessarily the writing. And I think I would say the same thing about any of the main actors on the show have embodied their characters so brilliantly that I'm sure they were probably telling the writers, that's not what they would say.
Oh, yeah.
I feel that in this episode because, like you said, this episode is timely in a way that at the time it's timely, but I think still now, if you watch it, you can see the dysfunction that we still experience in our own government on display here in the early days of the 80s when this is just then a thing. And watching it now, it is hard to watch because we know that Agent Orange is such a thing. And realistically, the character of Wojciechowicz probably maybe died in the mid-80s, because he may have gotten cancer from Agent Orange, like so many other Vietnam veterans. And is that terrible to think? Yes, but also at the same time, the show is broaching that topic in a way that doesn't feel out of character for the show.
Right. Well, was it this episode where they're talking about people who are thrill seekers after the war?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Because that all of this stuff was really touching home for me as the son of a Vietnam vet, because one, according to my mom, he had a spot on his leg after he came back from the war that just never healed. And two, he died skydiving because he was, I think, in hindsight, that he was probably looking for those thrills that he was getting in the war and was trying to recapture that somehow. I think it's really stupid to be a skydiver when you have a 2-year-old kid at home, but hey, he lived his life like he wanted to. So
what? What
did you not know any of this?
No.
Oh, yeah.
This is a genuine reaction you're getting from me. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, that was my biological father. He died when I was just over 2, I believe.
Skydiving.
Yes. Chute didn't open. So, yeah. That's the one thing you'll never find me doing, Chris, is skydiving. I will do a lot of stupid things, but I will stay away from that one.
What? Dude, what the fuck? Jesus.
Yep.
What a terrible way to go. I am sorry. I did not. Jesus, why? Whoa, dude, that's wild. Holy shit. But I would be inclined to agree with you, though. Because that is a thing. That is a thing. And chasing that, I guess what was a dangerous behavior or right. I mean, it's like
adrenaline rush. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like people that, you can be addicted to a lot of stuff, but you can be addicted to that, the adrenaline. It's no different than being addicted to sex or drugs or anything else, or being addicted to, your life being in a constant state of chaos, which I have met that as well, which is just as miserable as all the other addictions that you either personally deal with or know someone that you want to be around them, but you understand, you've made peace with the fact that this is the way that they are. And that's the thing about this episode. It's how much of it is their fault and how much of it is not their fault, and how much of it is the government culpable and could take responsibility for and just refuse to. And, obviously Vietnam is something that we are still talking about right now, and we will probably continue to talk about from here until the, eventual heat death of this planet. But that's insane, dude. What? Jesus Christ, man.
So the one thing that rang really false for me in this episode was how upset Barney was getting by Wojo calling in these 3 guys. And kind of I understand Serrano was arrested for one thing. And, you're right. It was Dietrich, I think, was talking about the Vietnam syndrome.
Right.
But yet Wojo focuses in on the Agent Orange, and then it suddenly becomes a personal thing for him, which I totally understand.
Because he got sprayed with it.
Yeah. So it's Barney, you really shouldn't be this upset. Plus, this is what Wojo does. Wojo goes on these missions, and this is what crusade. Yes, that's a perfect word for it. And this is a very noble crusade, Barn, that he's getting these 3 guys in here and having this conversation and speaking his piece. I love when Wojo gets upset,
Right.
He hollers at these guys.
No, Barn. He always gets so mad. Yeah. But it's righteous indignation. It's 100% justified. And that's the thing. We all wish that we could get our 5 minutes with somebody in power to give them a fucking piece of their mind or our mind. You would, I would, we all would. And it's not even the same person for all of us. It's probably different people, be it local government, state government, federal government, not even government, but your own bureaucracy within your own job that you have. You probably hate your own fucking boss or upper management or whatever. And we all want that opportunity to tell them to go fuck themselves with a pair of Wolverine claws strapped to their arms. But the thing is, none of us get that opportunity for the most part.
Right.
So living vicariously through Wojciechowicz is fantastic. And like you said, it's done in a way that feels real. And like you mentioned, he puts more of it on his back because, again, he got sprayed with Agent Orange. So he feels it. This feels even more personal than all the other things he's gotten upset about. Because, again, and we had the episode, correct me if I'm wrong, where he was like all bent out of shape at anti-Vietnam protesters, right?
Right.
And that was verging on as close as this gets. But the moment he realizes he's been sprayed with Agent Orange, it goes from 10 to quote Spinal Tap to 11. He really just Max Gale's performance is fantastic. It makes us forget that Dorsey's even in this episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dorsey has his thing. And again, Dorsey's not really making friends here. He tries. He lays out this whole spread for breakfast and all this. But then he throws out Harris's tea. It's like, what are you doing, man? If you have a problem with the tea, put it on Harris's desk. Don't throw out another man's tea. That's just rude.
Yeah, it's... Again, I don't understand why they're writing this character this way if he's meant to be ingratiated into us as fans of the show. You are doing everything you can to make us hate this character.
Yeah.
Why? You might as well have him show up with a swastika on his forehead and screaming about how much he hates Jewish people. That. They're not doing anything to make him seem like a character who needs to be here any longer. As much as I like Paul Lieber, they are just making his character for whatever reason, a walking dartboard that everyone just keeps fucking throwing darts at and hitting. And it's just this guy just needs to go. As much as I like him as an actor, he did not need to be past the last episode. Because now he's just melted into the background completely.
Yeah. Him and Mike should have gone and hung out.
Doris Roberts is in this episode, right?
I was going to say, yeah, our B plot is Doris Roberts and Peter Hobbs back at it again. The Browers are back. I can remember him with the gold stuff. I'm trying to remember what his second scheme was, but in this one, he is now a nudist and has moved Harriet into a nudist building. Wow.
Great.
Yeah. Which, hey, you know what? That's great. And I like that Barney, everybody seems somewhat okay with it. They're making fun a little, but this whole thing of them being out in public and exposing, joke intended, exposing themselves to people who are unawares. It's if you're nudist, just keep it to yourself, go to a camp, do this, play some volleyball, whatever you guys do. That's great. But yeah, being in the middle of New York City as a nudist when you're out on the roof or downstairs and your windows are open, it's keep some reps on it. You don't need to be tossing your bits and berries around. On
the next episode of Bits and Berries with my Chris.
I'm trying to remember what me wedding tackle.
My old John Thomas.
Right.
Oh, you could. I like Doris Roberts, obviously. She's fantastic
she's
anytime
great.
She shows up. So did I need them playing the same characters again? Nah.
Again?
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't add anything. It doesn't detract either. It's funny that these two people are constantly coming into the police station to have their marital problems dealt with. I find that rather amusing, but I think honestly, this is one of those episodes where the A plot was enough that you could have had a subplot focusing still on the A plot, be the B plot. Does that make sense? So Dietrich doing something with someone in terms of the Agent Orange thing would have made more sense, as opposed to just having these two random married people in the middle of this kind of on a very special episode of Barney Miller. It's it's not, we've seen it closer before because of the rape episode being pretty much or the Harris incident. Those are two on a very special episodes. But this one is that Agent Orange stuff has the same feel to it because it ain't funny. There's nothing funny about it. The only thing that's funny is the governmental dysfunction, but that's also really not funny. It's not funny. It's fucking pathetic if it's anything.
And so, yeah, she's been on here a few times, but she does come back at some point and play a different... Oh, I'm sorry. I take it back. Her very first appearance, she was Louise Kaufman. And
yes,
after that, she is constantly Harriet Brower, even on the episode Wojo's Girl. Unfortunately, this is her last time on here. We are saying goodbye to Doris Roberts and her husband on here. So
no more schemes from her crazy asshole husband.
No, he didn't even know. He was investing all of his money in gold, and really what you got to do is invest in zinc. That's what Richard Libertini will tell you.
Or technology to make you invisible, because that's the thing I think of Peter Hobbs from is to see the invisible man. You remember that?
I don't remember that.
He was like he was the guy. He was like the old man.
Oh, he was the blind guy, right?
Yeah.
He's amazing. I always like him. I usually associate him with another movie that we've talked about recently, 9 to 5. But yeah, Man with Two Brains, Sleeper. This guy, he had an amazing year. But compared to Doris Roberts, I can't even fathom how many things she was in over her career, because she was everywhere for decades.
She's in one of my favorite comedies of all time, Grandma's Boy. She is so good in Grandma's Boy.
That's
her amazing. And it's her and I forget the other. Shirley MacLaine is in that movie. That's who.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then
no, Shirley Jones is in that.
Shirley Jones. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's them two, and then I forget the other actress's name, but she's great. I mean, she's the emotional core of that entire movie.
You're gonna love this. The other person, Shirley Knight. So it's two Shirleys and a Doris.
Oh, okay. You've seen Grandma's Boy, right?
Yeah, that was Nick Swartzen or
Alan.
He was
Alan
in
Colbert.
it. Right.
Yeah. The
it's
caddy
been a
from
while,
Happy
but
Gilmore.
I do remember liking it a lot because, I kind of like those stupid comedies sometimes.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those like old Adam Sandler's dumb little friends making a movie together, like Peter Dante, and obviously like who's going to give Alan Covert the lead in a movie other than like I mean, I love him as an actor, and I think he has great comedic timing, but like that's a thing that because you worked with Sandler so much, but she's amazing. Like genuinely, she's really funny and really sweet, and like again, she grounds the movie in a way that again only someone who is as talented as Doris Roberts, who again we didn't even mention. I mean, like, I think most people my age would know her from Everybody Loves Raymond because she's the mom, right?
Yeah.
It was her and Peter Boyle, no?
Right, correct.
Right. Like, I mean, that alone, the cast of that show alone. And then you have her and Peter Boyle, like, Jesus Christ. There's a reason that show ran for so long, and it wasn't just because of Ray Romano. So I don't know what that was supposed to be.
I think it was all Brad Garrett myself, but...
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and that's the only time, other than the whole breakfast spread, that I remember Dorsey even being in this episode, is when he's freaking out that Doris Roberts is going to walk out into the precinct naked. And I love when Harris just walks up and knocks on the door. All right, Mrs. Brower, come on out. And she comes out fully clothed, just like, I was just making a point. I'm like, yeah, Harris is smart. You're not, Dorsey.
Yeah.
Though, of course, Harris has been exposed to these lunatics 3 times before.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, like, well, that's the other thing. What's funny is the way Lieber reacts to it, like his character. It feels out of step with the rest of the precinct because like they get it, and he's like, "Blah." It's like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is commonplace, my friend. Like, this is like not even that big of a deal compared to some of the yo-yos we get in here. Like, they're not pretending to be Jesus or possessed by ghosts. Like, that's like a Tuesday for us. So, which I wish they would acknowledge that. I wish they would have acknowledged that in the show. Just been like, you won't believe the shit that we've had to deal with here. Like, and like that, like Dietrich, because like Dietrich kind of like starts getting into it a little bit, and he stops when he's like, 3 years I had to. But can you imagine if he was just acknowledged any of the things that they've had to deal with to this guy? That would be enough to Winston Zeddemore force this guy to run away. Like, be like, I'm not okay with this. No, thank you.
Right. Yeah. And then I don't know, maybe Dorsey finds his calling, pun intended, in the next episode with Call Girl, where he seems very taken with this 14-and-a-half-year-old hooker. Okay.
Yes.
Sure. I don't understand. I like her in here, Rhonda Halleck, the character played by Tasha Zemras. I don't know why she's in this episode, other than to give like quips here and there. She's the African-American hooker that comes in with the other hookers, and it's like, I don't get that. I don't know why she's there. Like, they run in the high-class prostitute, and that opens up this whole can of worms for Barney, where he's getting calls from judges that know that their names are in this little black book. How odd that we watch this episode the same week that Epstein's flight logs become public, right?
I know, right?
What's old is new again. And then you've got the younger hooker that Dorsey is just like, why are you doing this? And then he eventually bonds with her over missile command. Okay.
Yes.
Here's the zeitgeist, guys. It's video games coming in.
Games, guys.
What a
Like,
weirdo.
Yeah. What's up? Hello, fellow kids. Like, Jesus Christ.
And then you have the black one. And it's like, okay, like she gets off some good quips, but like she should have been doing something like poor Dietrich in this episode. He is trying to undergo, quote unquote, the new celibacy. And I had to go look it up. I was reading the Washington Post. If you will indulge me, I'm going to read a couple paragraphs from this story from August 2nd, 1980, ripped from the headlines, Chris.
Whoa.
It was bound to happen. Just when Plato's retreat and the pleasure principle are playing in Peoria, the news is out from California, Trend Central, that sex is out, O-U-T, out. Celibacy, which used to be for everyone but monks, nuns, shakers, men recovering from hernia operations, and teenagers with terminal acne, is in. Don't laugh. According to author Gabrielle Brown, celibacy is the only sane reaction to the sexual revolution of the last 2 decades. The one-night stands, the group gropes, the wife-swapping, bed-hopping frenzy of orgasmic pursuit. That's where I'll stop there. But first off, I was always taught that celibacy means not getting married and chastity means not having sex, but somewhere along the line, they made celibacy be chastity, which always drives me crazy. But how weird is this? How weird is it that celibacy becomes a trend right when Reagan is about to take office? What the fuck?
Well, free love's over, baby. I mean,
we are right there on the verge of AIDS too. So yeah, fuck me, right?
Yeah. Well, no. Actually, the exact opposite.
Yes.
Don't fuck me. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That was the sequel to Just Shoot Me, I think.
Right.
I find it, I mean, look, if any character on the show is going to do it, it's going to be one of 2 characters. It would either be Harris, unrealistic and unexpectational, but it would be funny, or Dietrich, because he's already a fucking alien anyways. So, like, he's a weirdo. But that's the thing. It has been established that Arthur Dietrich has a sex drive, that Arthur Dietrich finds women
attractive. The fucking nuns, man. He you know, his girlfriend was celibate, or should have been.
Yeah. Arthur Dietrich, nun fucker. But that's the thing, like, you know, it's been established that, like, he is a sexual being. So the comedy that they mine, I appreciate it. It's just kind of bizarre. Like, because again, yeah, like, what a weird trend for everybody to, like, think is a thing that anyone should listen to.
Right.
Because I kind of don't get it. I kind of don't. Personally, I don't get it.
The thing that I don't think pays off as much is because they have this happen before they reveal that he's taking part in the celibacy, is when he gives Barney this report and he has done all of this crime categorization for all of the year, plus predictions for 1981 as far as what crimes are going to be higher and lower. And he just gives this whole spiel about this report that he's put together. Had we known that he is celibate, Chase, and that is giving him newfound powers, I think that would have been even funnier.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that should have been the gag, is that, like, look at how much work he's getting done because he's not jerking off or having sex. Like, and like, yeah, why is the joke being told out of order? Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, get it? That's why he did it, because he's celibate. Like, okay, sure. I don't know. Like, this episode goes all in on the sex stuff. And I don't know, like, I feel like I've seen this episode before.
Yeah. The only part of it that was new for me was having the return of Arthur Mallet, mostly known for me as, God, what voice did he do? Was he in Peter Pan? I know he was in Hook, right? He lost his marbles.
Yeah.
But he has a great voice.
The Secret of Nim?
Mr. Aegis. Yeah. You know what else he was in? Halloween.
It was also in Dagger of the Mind.
Oh, yeah. He sure was. He was that drunk guy that they were trying to, was it his umbrella? Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was in several episodes of Night Gallery as well. Like he's been in all sorts of things that we have talked about in the last decade.
He is the most detestable character I think that might have been on this show, like worse than the guy who was raping his own wife. He is a pimp for a bunch of teenage girls, including, and I'm sorry I said 14 and a half, 15 and a half year old little, what's her name? Rhonda Halleck, I think it was the girl's name. What the fuck, man? This guy's a dirty old man with all of these young girls around, and I don't know what they do in their own time. He's a total pimp, and Barney even asks him if he's a pimp, and what's that? I don't know. It's like, this guy is awful. Like, I kind of wish Barney had shot him.
Oh, I mean, my headcanon, because again, this is the last episode that Paul Lieber is in. My headcanon is that Dorsey goes and kills him and gets locked up because of it.
There you go.
I mean, because again, like, he is kind of making it his personal mission at the end of this episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
To be like, I'm going to be on you like ugly on an ape, which is a great line.
It is good.
Great line. But like, you could see why Dorsey doesn't come back, I guess. I mean, that's the thing, like, for a character who's so underwritten, what an ignominious way to be written off the show.
Yeah.
Like nothing. I don't know if there's going to be anything in the next episode. I mean, he's not in the next episode, but given the time and place that this show is being written and the expectations of the audience, I don't think they necessarily have to address why he's not there anymore.
No, he'll go away like Mike.
Yeah. Or like Amengual, like Chano.
Yeah.
Oh, Chano just left. They probably
he's
Chano
still on the board.
Yeah, he still works for the police department, but he's just not there. Same with Wentworth, I mean, Fish even. Like, Fish, they kind of obviously gave some fanfare, and Jack Sue was a different situation, but Amengual and Wentworth just left. Like, but yeah, Amengual is still on that board, so get out of here. I don't know, like, this was an experiment that failed, similarly to Wojo's girl. Dorsey is another failure. But hey, at the time and place when this show was being written and aired, this was the way you did that. This is the way you add new characters, and this is the way you create spinoffs, is just fucking force that shit in. Like, so we're just gonna, new character, here you go. And it's like, now he's gone. Okay. Like, that's the weird part. Like, the way he's introduced is one thing, but the way he gets poochied out of the show. I mean, effectively, like, at the end of this episode, they might as well have had him just,
Dorsey died on the way back to Dietrich's home planet.
Like, and I wouldn't be surprised, because they handle his introduction pretty poorly. And unless they mention him in the next episode, they handle the way he's written off the show just as poorly.
Yeah. I think that another joke that doesn't go anywhere is this whole thing of the high-class call girl getting a hot stock tip from one of her Johns, and then calling her investor and like, hey, we got to sell this stock in order for me to buy this thing because it's this really hot tip that I have, and for sure this is going to go through the roof. Meanwhile, you got Harris there, who is increasingly becoming very venal when it comes to money and stuff. It's just like, okay, pretty soon, like, he's going to disallow people from putting coal into the stove, and he's just like, oh, what's that stock tip? Oh, you got something to tell me? And it doesn't go anywhere. Like, even at the end of the episode, it sounds like he's going to try to line up some business with her, which we know has happened. Dorsey isn't all wrong. There is some untoward things going on, some law breaking, some scofflaws in here. They're engaging in prostitution, which both Chris and I completely abide by that. Sex work is real work. That's great. But hey, man, she's not going to tell you that stock tip. And you could have tried like 10 other, reasonably 3 other ways to get her to tell you that. And I would have appreciated a little bit more humor as far as like, just do something with that. But it was like implacable witness versus police detective, and he just keeps trying the same tactic over and over again.
I mean, I like more the idea of Dorsey saying to Barney, oh, that's why men your age fuck 14-year-olds, bro.
Jesus Christ.
What universe
man.
Did this guy beam in from? Like, Planet Dickhead? Like, it's so
the worst.
Weird.
Yeah.
He is the worst. He really is. You're right. You're totally right.
Poor Dietrich. I love when he's just like, I'm going to go suck on my tie now. What the fuck?
Well, the way the episode ends is just as fucking strange.
Oh, that's
Harris
great.
is about to tear up the sex worker's card, and Dietrich just goes, no! And it ends with him saying no. Like,
The freeze frame.
oh, God. Everybody, Barney Miller will be back next week with more episodes not starring Paul Lieber, because, yeah, by the end of this recording, I am on board with the Dorsey was a bad choice brigade. It's just like, the more we talked about it, the more I realized like there's just no getting around it. Like, there's no getting around it. He does not fit in this show.
No. I wanted to like you. I like the actor, but he was just, they did him dirty. They definitely did him dirty.
He's someone that, like, I would be curious if he would, like, talk about his time on the show. Because I would love to know, like, what the expectation was initially. Like, he was going to just be a new cast member?
Yeah. Just bring him in. Oddly, in the fourth episode of the first season. Fourth episode. It's like, why didn't you start the season with this guy? And you wouldn't have to have an explanation at all. He could just be sitting at Nick's desk.
Right. And they walk in and they're like, who the hell is this guy?
Right. He could have been assigned when they became the homicide department, you know?
Oh, yeah. Give yourself plenty of opportunities to do that. Or just introduce him by forcing him into our lives.
He's coming over from the 20th. He's their only homicide detective over there. So he's going to teach you guys how to do this because you don't deal with these violent crimes that often. Something. God damn it. I hate when I rewrite these episodes.
Well, and the thing is, it's like, it's not like we're really having to like flex our brains too hard. It's like, why didn't they just do the obvious thing?
Exactly. Yeah. What a weird choice. Very weird choice.
And such a weird choice for a show that doesn't really make this kind of weird choice very often, if ever. The show is never this inconsistent, but these 3 episodes are inconsistent primarily because they have this looming threat of this weird character that nobody wanted and nobody asked for being introduced. And then, being just summarily done away with by the end of these 3 episodes. Like, we're never talking about Dorsey again, at least not in terms of him on screen. He's not coming back for the final episode to, hey, everybody, remember me? And the show ends with Harris shooting him. Freeze frame.
It ends with like, I want you to meet my new bride. She just turned 17.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun,
Rhonda, come on out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so strange. Such a weird choice. And then to like make him somewhat like lasciviously pedophilic towards the end is just like fucking just as strange of a choice. So
yeah. Oh boy.
Boy. Otto, if you're listening, I get it.
We are ready to believe you.
Yeah, we sure are.
Whew. Well, when we come back next month to talk about more Barney Miller, if you are paying attention at home and watching these episodes with us, we will be talking about Resignation, Field Associate, and Movie Part 1 and 2. And we may be joined by our good friend Richard Haddam, who we've been talking a lot about James Bond with lately.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you are interested in supporting Mike or myself on Patreon, you can check out Mike's Patreon over at patreon.com/projection
booth.
Or mine, which is patreon.com/culturecast. And at the $10 level on either of our Patreons, you get access to Rankin' on Bond, where Mike and I, along with our friend Richard Haddam from Rankin' on Bass, talk about, James Bond movies once a month, every month until 2026, I believe.
Well, until they start making those new ones. What about a Jinx spin-off movie? I'm still waiting for that.
That's the one. That's the one that I've been waiting for since the day that they announced it.
Oh boy. She could drive an invisible car. It would be awesome.
Yeah. Put just diamonds on her face.
Oh, there you go. Diamonds are forever.
And that's just a preview of everything you could enjoy on Rankin' on Bond. This was our improv session, just talking about James Bond for a second. But yeah, no, that's where you can find that show, and that's where you can find most things I work on can be found at weirdingwaymedia.com, including this show. What about you, Mike?
Same thing. Weirdingwaymedia.com is the place to go for all things Mike White. That's me, not the director/writer, not a football player, not the former mayor of Cleveland. There's a lot of us out there, but I'm the real deal, baby. Though I don't win any sort of Emmys or give Jennifer Coolidge good roles and stuff. So there is that caveat.
Not yet.
Not yet, but maybe one of these days. I'll be working with Uncle Rico full time. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh man, we've got so many Jennifer Coolidge impersonations on RuPaul's Drag Race this year. It's just been wall to wall. They even had 2 of them on Snatch Game, UK. So, or no, sorry, Canada. Yeah, I'm getting my incarnations of Drag Race mixed up.
That's the new hot impersonation to do is Jennifer Coolidge. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, I'm not doing mine, so don't wait for it. So until we come back, I want to thank John Walker for a theme song. I want to thank everybody for listening. All those people that have rated and reviewed the show over on iTunes, thank you so much for doing that. It's nice that you're spreading the word, getting us out there into the algorithm where maybe more people can find out that there is a Barney Miller podcast on the block. We are keeping it real for the old one, too.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters, and Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.